welcome to the show! I'm Wolfie Bane, your host for today, and we are back doing another tier list in Tier Maker for Pokemon types. Howdy! Fantastic day, fantastic time, fantastic evening, and a fantastic life right now. Everybody, I'm back, I'm here, I'm ready to play some video games. So, we are back. Apologies for no Altera last week. It was kind of on me, I'm going to be honest. I was very, very exhausted during the day. I was doing a few bits and pieces in the morning, essentially. And I passed out during the day with a bunch of alarms set. Because I just really needed a nap. Was thinking, I'll sleep for a couple hours. For reference, this is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I finished up doing bits and pieces. I went, I'll sleep for a couple hours. I should be able to be awake. I'll set a bunch of alarms. Yeah. And I overslept and ended up missing a good chunk of the session, so they called it, which is unfortunate. But apparently, because we had one other person missing as well. So yeah, it's fully on me. Don't blame me all out there, guys. It's entirely on me. For last week's mishap. But apparently I needed the sleep. So, yep. But, yes, we have ice types today. And I've been excited for ice types because ice types are good. So, it is another one. Ice types are another type that have a get fucked tier for me. There are some of my least favorite Pokemon of all time in ice types. But there are a bunch of my favorites as well. So, yeah, exactly. Sometimes you just need to sleep. And that's what I say repeatedly for it. In this particular case, though, I did sleep for, 6 hours in a row after sleeping 8 hours the previous night. So, apparently I really needed it. I might have been overdoing it a bit recently, I think. Nowhere near as badly as it could be, but yeah. And hey, we've got this today. So, yes, ice types. I decided for the tiers today, once again, there is a bunch of Pokemon I absolutely despise in ice type. So I made another E tier. I spelled coffee wrong again. I had to restart my PC and it deleted my tier list updates. So I had to quickly type them up earlier. I had like an update that needed doing. But yes, so what we have. I decided to name them after ice creams. Where? Yeah, I literally went. I had to put them in order of what I like them. Now, one of them I haven't had for years. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jinx is getting destroyed. I hate Jinx. Jinx is one of my least favorites as well. Jinx is going in E tier. But I did the ice cream types in order of my favorites. Right? Now, one of them I haven't had in years, so I don't know if I still like it, but I used to love it as a kid, right? So, top tier, my favorite, undisputedly, always has been, always will be. Now, I will should point out, this is a particular type of Raspberry Ripple. Supreme Raspberry Ripple. This is the Raspberry Ripple that's made correctly. Raspberry Ripple made correctly is a mix of raspberry ice cream and white chocolate ice cream. That will be that very specifically. And that is the best ice cream type on Earth, to me. Nothing comes close. Not even vaguely close. It is absolutely delicious beyond imagining. They very rarely sell it. They haven't sold it anywhere near me for years. I'm really annoyed about it. But I know I still love it. Every time I go somewhere, if I see it on the list, I'm getting it. Yeah, that's fair. I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't have ice cream too often, but when I do, and I just go, you know what, suffer through it, it will always be Raspberry Riplets on the table. Second favorite, vanilla. Yeah, I've made ice cream from scratch as well. It is really good. I made vanilla ice cream from scratch at least. I do want to try that again, but I haven't got any of the stuff here to do it, like a freezer. Vanilla is one of my favorite flavors as well. It's hard to beat good vanilla ice cream. 100%. This is like the really nice vanilla. In most places, since they very rarely have Raspberry Ripple, I will normally get vanilla ice cream or something weird that is like, oh, that sounds nice. I'll give it a shot. But usually, vanilla is my other choice if Raspberry Ripple's not on the table. Bait on butterscotch. This is the one, I used to love this as a kid. This used to be one of my favorites as a kid. It's great. I haven't had it for years, so it's why it's a bit lower. But I used to love butterscotch. So, right? Even if I don't like, even if my tastes have changed nowadays and I don't like it, which I don't know, I haven't had it for ages. Butterscotch has still got a place of respect for me as an ice cream flavor because how much I used to love it as a kid. I literally used to ask my mum to take me to this place it was called the Herb Garden, right? And one of the main reasons why I wanted to go, and wait, she wanted to go because of lavender cake. I wanted to go because it had butterscotch ice cream. That was a big part. I used to go to the Herb Garden. It used to smell great. C is chocolate. Chocolate is fine. Good chocolate ice cream is very, very good. I will 100% say that. But for me personally, I'm not really into chocolate ice cream guy. Chocolate in general tends to give me a bit of a stomachache. White chocolate doesn't, but milk chocolate and dark chocolate. Dark chocolate extremely does, so it must be something with cocoa solids. Like, it disagrees with me a bit. But chocolate is good. I will say that. And C tier is my average tier, as usual. I will put chocolate as just standard. Right? Standard, it's decent. If you can't get any of the others, it's not a bad choice. Right? D tier. Now, I had a real fucking hard time coming up with one that had D at the start of it. So I eventually gave up. And I just put dire, as in bad. Not dire as in direwolf, which is cool. Dire as in, it's kind of dire. And I put coffee. I hate coffee ice cream. I hate coffee in general. I'm not a coffee guy. It's too bitter for me. But I will say, I won't really judge if you like coffee, right? That's why it's my D tier one. I dislike it a lot, but I don't think it's necessarily bad for D tier. I just don't like it. E tier, however, I literally couldn't think of anything. I was trying to think of something disgusting for an ice cream flavor. So I just ended up putting eel-flavored ice cream. Something absolutely vile. Because, again, Ice-type, like Fire-type, has some awful, hated Pokemon that I absolutely despise in it. So, because of that, yeah, there is an E tier. There is going to be... These are the Pokemon I actively hate. Like, the D tier is a Pokemon I kind of dislike. E tier... If you haven't seen the Fire... I think it was only the Fire-type tier list. You might not know this. E tier is the I fucking hate it tier. And it's awful and it's a despicable Pokemon that should never have been made. A mistake, if you will. And that's what E tier is. So, yeah. I'm not picky at all. But yes, let's get into it with some Pokemon we've actually reviewed before. So... Alolan Sandshrew, Ice Steel type, which is a weirdly bad type combination, considering it is a very good offensive type with a very good defensive type. But unfortunately, it's a really bad type combination because of what they are weak to. Ice and Steel are quad weak to fighting and quad weak to fire, which is real bad. But... I believe I talked about this in the Steel-type tier list. Alolan Sandshrew and Sandslash are cool Pokemon. So, like, they're good Pokemon. They are fun. I'm not the biggest fan overall of them. But they are cute, and they get a lot of pluses for that for me. And they're not bad. I talked about them quite a lot in the Steel tier list, so I won't go too crazy in. But I'd give them a B tier, right? I like Sandslash. I can't remember which list I put them in for Steel. But you know, they're fine. They're nothing crazy. But I kind of like them, right? I have a soft spot for Sandslash. I talked about that again in the ground-type tier list where I ranked Sandslash. They're not particularly good, but they're not useless. There are Pokemon I hate a lot more on this list than them. Now we're coming to an immediate S tier, let's be honest. These are two of my favorite ice types in existence. If you've watched me play Pokemon competitively, you know I love these Pokemon. They are my go-to snow setters. I absolutely love them. I have said for a while, Alolan Ninetales is literally designed specifically to be the hard counter of my favorite Pokemon, which is a respect point you've got to give it. They nailed it. One of the best regional forms ever made. They immediately nailed it. The best Alolan variant by far. Alolan Muck's got some good showing, to be honest, but it doesn't come close to Alolan Ninetales and Alolan Vulpix. So Alolan Vulpix, S tier. Alolan Ninetales, S tier. And I will say, I fucking love Alolan Vulpix, but Alolan Ninetales is one of my favorite Pokemon. Again, Alolan Ninetales is one of my favorite fairy types and one of my favorite ice types. Now, it might not be my favorite. We will get to see. But I absolutely love this Pokemon. If it's a friend of mine's favorite Pokemon as well, my good buddy Wilfred, it's his favorite Pokemon. To the point that I believe he literally picked Fairy for the Gym Leader Challenge on my suggestion because of this Pokemon, because he was debating between Ice and Fairy, because he wanted Alolan Ninetales on his team. And he went, well, but behind Alolan Ninetales, he's only, like, okay on a lot of the other ice types. But Alolan Ninetales is, like, a really big one. And it's a great one. Or, Aurora Veil setup, which is my usual use for it. I give it, like, a good offensive moveset with the Light Clay and Aurora Veil, because it sets up the snow itself. So you could get the Aurora Veil up turn 1. It's very fast. It hits pretty damn hard. It's a Ninetales, so it's already just decent all around. Gets a good moveset. Gets Moonblast, gets Ice Beam, gets Freeze Dry, the most important ice move in existence. Any special attacking ice type that gets Freeze Dry, immediately up a tier. I love Freeze Dry. Freeze Dry is my favorite ice move by far. Mainly because it counters water. Gyarados, Mega Steelix, Scizor, Gengar. Nice! I did see that Primal Kyogre. It's so pretty. Shiny Primal Kyogre goes hard. But anyway. Okay. Dugong. The first ever ice type. Oh, Shiny Altaria is so nice. I quite like Dugong. In a weird way. I have a bit of a soft spot for it, but not enough to really put it in a good tier. It is a extremely average Pokemon. Yeah, it's definitely underrated. I would absolutely say it's underrated. It can do some work. It's pretty tough. The normal setup, it can be really irritating to deal with. But I don't mind it. But I will comfortably put it as a C tier. I don't think it's bad. People rip into this Pokemon. It doesn't deserve that. There's a lot worse Pokemon out there. It's nothing crazy. But in like a fairly standard playthrough, you could get a lot worse. Right? There's a lot worse Pokemon. And it's fine. It's quite cute. I'll give it that. I vastly prefer it to its pre-evolution. Which in cuteness is a rare one. But I don't really like Seal. Like ordinary Seal. The pure water type. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think Dugong is a much cooler Pokemon than that. Not just because it's ice type. It's just a better all-round design. I have a spot on my hand, huh? Might be a bug bite, actually. I'll just put a bit of the bug bite stuff that I have here on it. Just in case, you know. That's like tapped the side of my finger and just went, there's a bite there. Probably a mosquito or something. It is getting humid around me. Nah. But yeah. I do not mind Dugong at all. It's fine. Won't give it higher than that. But don't dislike it. It's not bad. Cloyster. I am actually quite the fan of Cloyster. I've not used this Pokemon as much as I want to. It's very cool. I love its design. I've always had a soft spot for Cloyster's design. I don't know why. It's kind of like the weird, kind of creepy, but kind of cool as well. I always loved the shell. I think the shell looks awesome for it. It kind of reminds me of Ghastly, obviously, because of the orb in the middle. I like it. Also, 180 defense stat. 180. And Skill Link, which is a cool ability. Skill Link Icicle Spear. Yeah, it's Armored Ghastly, right? Skill Link Icicle Spear, so always hitting 5. Shell Armor is another good ability, because, well, it's an ability I really like. It can't be crit. I always like it. I love Cloyster. Cloyster, for me... Are you an A tier? You're probably A tier. I like him. It's definitely not an S tier Pokemon, but I quite like it. I do quite like it. Now then. Okay. I will 100% say this before I get into the next Pokemon. It's better than the Kanto form. That's all it's got going for it. It's more interesting a Pokemon than the Kanto variant. The Kanto variant is probably my least favorite Pokemon in existence, or bottom 3 least favorite Pokemon in existence, right? But the Ice-type one isn't as egregiously bad. It's awful, but it's not as egregiously bad. So, I will put you comfortable E tier, but I hate this Pokemon. Everybody knows that my opinion on Mr. Mime is the only reason it's in Pokemon Unite is for me to destroy it. But the Ice one isn't the worst offender. Why they felt the need to make an extra version of Mr. Mime, I don't know. Bury it and leave it for dead. I hate Mr. Mime. I really hate Mr. Mime. It's never getting a good tier from me. It's an E tier Pokemon. I hate it. But this particular version isn't as bad. That's all I can give it. It's not as bad as the regular Mr. Mime, which might be in its own tier below awful tier when I get to it. I haven't decided yet. Because I don't want the Pokemon that I despise to be seen near it. Yes. This is one of the reasons why I say the Galarian Mr. Mime isn't as bad as regular Mr. Mime. Because I think regular Mr. Mime is worse than Jinx. For reference, Jinx is my 4th least favorite Pokemon of all time. But for me, Jinx is significantly worse than Galarian Mr. Mime. I hate Jinx. Jinx is an awful Pokemon. I despise it. I really don't like it. I've never liked it. It always weirded me out as a kid. It weirds me out as an adult. I hate it. I don't like this Pokemon. I will never use one, ever. I am always depressed to see one as an option. I have caught them in a couple of games literally just to complete the Pokedex and then immediately release them. That is actually how it was gone with me, usually. I don't want them in my boxes. I don't want them in my box. The worst Gen 1 Ice-type by far, and it's not close. Yeah. Now we go from the worst Gen 1 Ice-type to the best Gen 1 Ice-type. Sorry, Articuno. I do love you, Articuno, but this one is better. Yeah, Lapras is probably an S tier for me. People know I love Lapras. I'm a big Lapras fan. It's a low S tier, I will say, but it's definitely an S tier. People have been watching me play Poké Rogue, right? You know I'm happy with my Lapras. I love Lapras. It's a very fun Pokemon. I really like it. Very underrated as well. Back in the day, it used to be a godsend Pokemon. Nowadays, it's underrated a lot. It's still pretty good. It's got the power. Right, it's a bulky mon. You can give it a bunch of really handy abilities. It's just nice to have, and it's thick, which is always helpful. And I love the design. Anyone who watched Orange Islands and Johto for Pokemon, for the anime, because these are the ones I actually did watch back when I was a little kid, you've got to have a soft spot for Lapras, right? Lapras is just a sweet Pokemon. It was quite rarely on my original teams, like in Kanto. But, you know, it's a good Pokemon still. Now, I will say, while I really like Lapras, I love Gigantamax Lapras. Gigantamax Lapras is probably my second favorite Gigantamax of the lot. I love Gmax Lapras. I actually think its design is better than regular Lapras. Genuinely. I love Gmax Lapras, and I've been using it a lot in Pokerogue, obviously. It's my go-to Gmax. When I eventually get Pokemon Sword, I would be quite happy if I can get... I think you can only find the Gigantamax Factor in raids. But if I can find one, I will probably use a Lapras. If I can find a Gmax Lapras. Because I'm not buying the DLC, so I won't be able to just make a Lapras Gmax. But I will, if I find one in the game, in my actual playthrough, with the Gmax Factor, like if I find... I will check the dens in that game when I get it to look for a Gigantamaxable Lapras, and I will use it in the playthrough. Right? So that is what I will comfortably tell you right here, right now. The only reason I will use that over Charizard, which is my actual favourite Gmax form, is because I believe you only get Charizard at the end of the story. Like, I think Leon specifically gives you a Charmander. And that is where you get the Charizard that you can Gmax. So, yeah. Since I'm only basically playing Sword and Shield for the story, probably not. Probably not going to do that. For reference, by the way, I'm not planning on getting the DLCs for Sword and Shield because the only Pokemon I'm really interested in using in Sword and Shield are the unique to Sword and Shield kind of Pokemon. So if it for a lot of, I'm not interested in like completing the Pokedex and all that stuff. I want to use like the gimmicks and play the story. I've heard a lot of people say bitch about the story, but I've seen the story play out. It doesn't seem too bad. So I'm going to play it for the main game, right? And to use Dragapult in an actual story game. And it's what I only play with Pokemon that I don't get to play with, and a lot of the Galar Pokemon are ones that I love, but they're a little bit below other Pokemon for me, so I rarely use them in a playthrough. In most cases. But Galar's got some fantastic Pokemon that I really want to try. So, like, it's got Hatterene, which I, again, love it. Haven't really used it too much, but I love the Pokemon. So I want to use it for an actual playthrough. Obstagoon, which I think is only found in Galar at the moment. There is Corviknight, which I've used before, Corviknight, but I love Corviknight. It's the regional bird of Galar. I've got to use it. There is Dragapult, which is the pseudo-legendary of the game, which is, which always gets outdone by other pseudo-legendaries, even though Dragapult is insanely good. I want to use it. So yeah, there's just a bunch that I really want to try out. For me. That just come out in Galar by happenstance. So, yeah. And that's a big one. I'm not too bothered about the starters. Galar starters are some of the weakest ever. In terms of, do I like them or not? But, we'll see. Anyway, Articuno! I love Articuno. My favourite of the original 3 Kanto legendary birds. A very good Pokemon. Well, it's not. It's a shite Pokemon in terms of actual usability. But I have had success with an Articuno before. It's a fun Pokemon. True, you do like to use your Alakazam, but hey, you picked a good choice. You picked a good team. Can't blame you. Did you want to just try something different? Would be my assumption. Yeah. But yeah, Articuno, solid A tier for me. Right? I don't have Shiny Abra, fair. That's been my problem as well with a few Pokemon. I've been wanting to use some Pokemon, but I don't have a Shiny. I actually have got the achievement for a full Shiny team now. Which was fun. But yeah, Articuno is an easy A tier Pokemon for me. I really like it. For reference, I do prefer all of the Galar birds to the original Cantonian birds. I think the Galar birds just slap. But the Cantonian birds, I have a soft spot for Articuno. I have a fondness for Moltres. And I think Zapdos is a terrible design. But yeah. I respect Zapdos' power, not its design. Because Zapdos is definitely the Kanto bird. Zapdos is easily the strongest. Just, I think of all the legendary birds, of both sets, I think Zapdos is the second strongest legendary bird. Regular Zapdos. I believe the strongest is Galar Moltres, and that's not a question. Galarian Moltres is insanely good. Regular Zapdos, I believe, is second. Galarian Zapdos, I believe, is third. Actually, no, maybe Moltres. Moltres... Actually, yeah, I think Moltres is currently better than Zapdos. Because of how you can use it, just because it counters, like, half of the meta at the moment. Yeah, so I think it might go... We use it as a tank. Yeah, I think it's Galar, Moltres, regular Zapdos, Galarian Zapdos, Galarian Articuno, Articuno. I believe, if memory serves, that's the tier list for how good they are. How much I like them is very different from the tier list, though. Sneasel, I've talked about Sneasel on the Dark-type tier list. People know I love this thing. A tier, comfy A tier. It's not Weavile. It's no Weavile. Which might be getting S tier. I'm not sure. It's either getting very high A tier or S tier for Weavile. I love it. But Sneasel, great design, great Pokemon. Love it. Very cute. Swinub. I mean, come on. You know where these are going. I love Swinub and Piloswine. They are S tiers in Ice for me. I remember where I put them on the ground type tier list. Today is a new day, so I'm feeling generous to them, and I really do like them. Behind Lapras, though. As much as I really love them, they are a little bit behind Lapras. Actually, you know what? Let's just take a look. Yeah, you know what? Instead of putting them up there, I'll put them in A tier. Specifically because I think S tier might get a little crowded. And a Mamoswine's still going in S tier. I will say that. I like Mamoswine a lot more. I like Mamoswine even more. But Piloswine and Swinub are fantastic Pokemon. Use them, genuinely. Give them a try in a playthrough if you haven't. I really want to use Mamoswine in a playthrough, to be honest. In fact, it's one of the reasons I'm kind of okay getting Ice-type in a Monotype run. In Pokemon MMO. Would be, there's a chance to get, there's a very high chance, if memory serves, to get Swinub as your starter. Because I don't remember how many 3-tier Ice types exist in Pokemon MMO. It might, I think it's like between 2? Oh, it's between 3. Yeah, there's literally, in Pokemon, there's 3 choices for Ice-type starters. If you want to do a Monotype run in the region. And the options are Swinub, Sfeel, and Vanillish. And those are the only 3. So you've got a 33% chance of getting Swinub. Or a 33% chance of getting Sfeel. And Sfeel is also really cool. And I've never used Walrein, but I'd be down to use it. I know it's a good Pokemon. And Vanillish, I'd be okay with it. Right, it is a snow setter, if nothing else. Okay, Delibird! Okay. Okay, guys. I will say, Delibird, I can't give you a good review. Because you're a borderline useless Pokemon. But what I will give you is you are a very funny Pokemon. And I respect the hustle of you getting Metronome and Present. So, you're getting in C tier, Delibird. It's probably more than you deserve, but it's silly, right? It's goofy, but in the acceptable kind of goofy. It's not bad. I'll give it that. I won't give it higher than C tier. It's fine. It's not my thing. But I can get why people love Delibird. And Delibird is the meme. It's a meme. It's one of the worst Pokemon ever made. I also loved what someone said. Delibird is Delibird. Articuno is the premium version of Delibird. It's Delibird Prime, I've heard. Which is very funny as an idea. Because they're the same type. Yeah, Delibird's a funny Pokemon, so I'm not giving it a bad review. I can't give it good. I actively am never going to use this Pokemon. The only reason I've ever used this Pokemon in anything is that it was my first shiny in Pokerogue, and so I just put it on the team at the back to just give me the shiny bonus when I didn't have any other shinies. It was literally it. And even then, I usually replaced it with a different shiny. Like, if I was, like, down to the wire. Because for some reason that thing costs 3 points. It does not deserve to cost 3 points. Okay. Smoochum, terrible Pokemon. I hate it. E tier. Awful thing. Awful thing. Why did they need to... Why do they think you needed to give Jinx a baby form? Why? It's awful. I hate it. I hate it with a vengeance. I despise it. It's awful. It's useless. I hate it. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I dislike it. Castform Ice. Castform Ice is alright. I do not have very strong feelings about Castform Ice at all. I will once again say, why does Castform not have a rock form for Sandstorm? It has an ice form for snow. It has a fire form for sun. It has a water form for rain. There is one weather missing here, Game Freak. Give us the sand version of Castform. Ground or rock type. Rock type probably makes more sense. Because Sandstorm actually affects rock types. Where it just doesn't affect ground types. So yeah, Castform, you're a C tier. You're fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I know people that love Castform. As it gets nicknamed Big Naturals. If you know what normal Castform looks like, you know. But yeah, nothing wrong with Castform. It's fine. G-Max Delibird, exactly. Mega Delibird, Articuno. Snorunt, okay. Okay, we're getting into Snorunt. So, Snorunt is interesting for me. Because it is technically the pre-Evo of one of my absolute all-time favourite Pokemon. But, Snorunt itself is fun. I will give Snorunt a very respectable B tier. High B tier. I like it. I like the little TP. I like its like. It always reminds me of Kenny. You know, like from South Park. I like Snorunt. It's quite cool. I'll get more into Snorunt later. I will always very happily have a Snorunt on the team, but it takes me a lot of farming. We'll put it that way. Glalie is a cool Pokemon. I quite like it. I always had a bit of a soft spot for it. In Gen 3, like in Hoenn, I had a bit of a soft spot for it. I think it's quite a cool design. So, Glalie, you're getting A tier. You're getting a comfy A tier. Probably just behind Cloyster, I think, is exactly where I want to put you, actually. And Mega Glalie is kind of dumb, but I kind of like it. So you're getting here as well. Probably behind the normal Glalie. I like normal Glalie's design a bit more. But yeah, it's a neat Pokemon. I've always respected it. Mostly because, well, here's the bit. Gen 3 is where I mainly started using dragons, right? Because Gen 3 is actually where dragon types became more than just Dragonite and Kingdra, right? It became more mainline use for dragons. And some of my favorite dragons of all time came out in Gen 3. Looking at you, Salamence, my 4th favorite Pokemon of all time. So, I will comfortably say I have respect for the Glalie, because Glalie can do some real damage to you. There's the Elite Fours. Glalie actually gave me some pause in my original playthrough. Mostly because, if memory serves, my Blaziken got dropped by something in my first ever playthrough of it. Blaziken is the ultimate counter to it in the game, for reference. But clearly, as my respect, it's powerful. Oh yeah, it got dropped by the Wall Rain. That was what my Blaziken got dropped by the Wall Rain. Because it Hydra pumped me, if memory serves. But yeah. Respect on the Glalie. It's a good Pokemon. And Mega Glalie, I've never used it, but I think its design's kind of neat, right? Also, Glalie gets Moody, which is fun. Moody is an entertaining ability. I've never used it, but it's cool. Now, I will say, Spheal, I have one word to say. Orb. Spheal is adorable. It is one of the cutest Pokemon ever. I will comfortably say that. Spheal itself, you're getting S tier. Just Spheal. The rest of its line isn't getting into S tier. I will say that. But Orb. Orb. Orb, guys. Orb. I think Spheal is a very, very cute Pokemon. It comes down to that. Genuinely amazing star. I would actually be quite happy if Spheal was a water starter Pokemon. Genuinely. I think that would be awesome. It always gave me vibes of an actual starter Pokemon, like Spheal and Walrein. In all honesty. I also know Walrein gets Freeze Dry, which is also a big plus. I like Walrus. Walruses are cool. I don't even remember the name. Is it Celeon or something like that? I've never been a huge fan of U, so I'll put U in C tier. I'm not a massive one for its design. It's not bad. Exactly, right? It's a water type. It's got cute form, weird teenage stage, very cool final evo. It's got a vibe to it. It's bright fucking blue. Like, it's extremely blue. It looks like it could be a starter, genuinely. If this was the starter for a region, I'd go, I could see it. It's got the vibes. It's got the vibes. So, yeah. Walrein itself is getting a comfy A tier. I think it's an awesome design. Quite a powerful Pokemon, like a respectably powerful Pokemon as well. You can do some work with what? I don't even remember its stats. I know Walrein is absurdly tanky. Mostly, I think, just due to massive health. Yeah, I think it's got, like, what? Yeah, it's got 110 health, 80 attack, which is adequate. It's not a physical attacker, though. 90 defense, 95 special attack, 90 special defense, and 65 speed for a 530 base stat total, which is barely less than the starters, because I think starters I think Swampert's the highest at 335, most fire types hit 334, and most of the others are like 333, 334 as well. So, like, it's around the right bracket for a starter Pokemon. And, yeah, I don't think you'd be upset at all for having a Walrein as a starter. Let's be fair. It would be pretty good. So, yeah. Walrein, pluses for me. Spheal is the orb, though, so it wins for that one, but I do like Walrein. I have a lot of respect for that Pokemon. It's very fun. And I've always wanted to try it, right? I've never used a Walrein. I'd be kind of down to try it. If I end up getting water in Hoenn, you bet that's on the team. When we eventually get around to doing the monotype, finishing off the monotype runs. Regice! I don't like calling it Regice. I know that's its actual name, but it's Regice, let's face it. Regice. I think Regice is pretty neat. It's my least favourite of the Regis, I will say that. But it's a fun Pokemon. It's got a massive special defense stat. I actually kind of like its design as well. I'm a big sucker for Golem-type Pokemon in general. I'd give you a B tier. Right, above Snorunt. I quite like Regice. It's I need to stop saying cool, okay? It's a decently deep, fun Pokemon. I have a soft spot for it, you know. Snova. Okay, Snova specifically, I'm gonna give you a detail. I don't really like the design of Snova. I'm gonna be honest. I think Snova itself isn't an amazingly good design. Wait a minute, where is it? Ah! They've missed something on this list. Yeah. Okay, I will say Mega Abomasnow is going to be about the same tier as Abomasnow. I will say that now. I must have reloaded a different... I think I loaded up a different tier list to my original one. So this one doesn't have the Mega, apparently. I assumed it had because... Yeah, Snowver is not great. Well, I will say this. Abomasnow itself isn't that bad. It's got a lot of weaknesses, and it's not good on the defense. But I will say, the thing it's got going for it is it is a snow setter. It just being a snow setter in general is okay. Like, it's got a purpose. And I don't mind its design, genuinely. Snova, I don't like. Actual Abomasnow, I actually kind of like it. I've used this Pokemon. It has had some fun, so I'll put you in a low B tier. A low B tier. It has a Mega. Abomasnow actively has a Mega, it's just not on this tier list for some reason. Genuinely. I must have loaded the wrong tier list up that doesn't have it. Yeah, genuinely. I think it's the only Ice type with a Mega. Actually, no, yeah, you see what I meant by, I like, scanned halfway through the tier list and went, cool, it's fine, because Glalie has its Mega on here. Abomasnow, I will get a picture up of Mega Abomasnow. This is a picture of Mega Abomasnow. Genuinely. In fact, can I? Nah. Yeah, this is Mega Abomasnow. It's not crazy. I believe it literally is just... Yeah, it genuinely is. I've used it. Because you get it in Pokemon X and Y in the story. Yeah, Abomasnow is a Mega. But this is a real image. This isn't like some copy. As it's not great. It's probably the worst Mega. I will fully say that. Worst Mega outright, not worst Mega compared to the original. But yeah, Mega Abomasnow is probably about the same tier as Abomasnow. It's fine. I quite like them because they're a snow set. If you're in a tier, if you're using a low tier in competitive Pokemon, and you want to build a snow team, you're probably building around Abomasnow. Because Abomasnow is a snow setter, it can get Aurora Veil. So, that's its purpose. If you use it for anything else, you're insane. You use it to set up the snow and set up the big screen. That's it. It does nothing else. So yeah. That is my view on Abomasnow. It is better. It's an underrated Pokemon. It is by no means a good Pokemon. At all. But it's underrated and doesn't deserve the hatred it gets. Also, President Abomasnow. Yeah. So yeah, Abomasnow, not as bad as people think it is. That is all I'll give it. Genuinely. That's all you get in Abomasnow. You've earned more than you should, probably. Also, a friend of mine was using Abomasnow to get through Kanto on their grass type run in the monotype runs because the Christmas event popped up and Abomasnow was one of the Pokemon that could sport that you could get in the Christmas event. So they had a much more powerful Pokemon. Well, a Pokemon that does a lot better because it doesn't just instantly die to ice for their team, which was quite nice. Weavile, you know where you're going, Weavile. You're going right up here. Above Lapras, but not above G-Max Lapras, I'd say. I love Weavile. Very fast, hits very hard, very good Pokemon. Literally made a Pokemon into the only legitimately very good Ice type for a very long time. Weavile is great. So, winning. Now then. Okay. Now, people that know me know something very fun. When it comes to evolutions, I have a favorite. They're very cute. I love all the evolutions. Jolteon's okay, but I do like them all. But for me personally, design-wise, you can't beat Glaceon. Glaceon is almost certainly, in fact, yes, I'm going to place it as here. Glaceon is my favorite Ice type in existence. Genuinely. Not really on usability. Glaceon is okay for usability. It's another one, if it had a better ability, it would be significantly better. If it had, say, Slush Rush on its ability list, it would be significantly better. But it gets Snow Cloak and Ice Body, which is healing in snow, basically. Because Leafeon and Glaceon are weather evolutions, basically. They're evolutions based around weather teams. Leafeon is better in usability because it's got Chlorophyll, which is a massive speed boost. You can give it Chlorophyll Solar Blade, bam, with a Choice Band. People have seen me do devastating things with Leafeon. But I like Glaceon. I love it. It's one of the Pokemon that learns Freeze Dry on Level Up, which is nice. It's got a monstrous special attack and very good defenses. I also think every evolution should have gotten a G-Max. I would have loved it. Genuinely. I'm still hoping we get more evolutions, I will say. But currently, Glaceon's my favourite. I have a shiny Glaceon in Pokemon Scarlet that I actively hunted for. People know I'm using a Glaceon in the Gym Leader Challenge at the moment for my Challenger team. I have a Glaceon on my team and it's been doing a lot of work. I love Glaceon. Glaceon is a very, very fun Pokemon. It's a sweet Pokemon. And genuinely, you can do some work with it. People think it's one of the worst evolutions. It's really not. It can do some serious damage. Anyone who's seen, what's it called? Anybody that saw my Dragon types only full playthrough, or like gym leader runs in Pokemon Mo, because I did a series a while ago where I beat every single post-game gym in the game with a just full Dragon type team. Bearing in mind this is in Pokemon Mo, so it only goes up to Gen 5, right? And the Ice Gym Leader, the final Ice Gym Leader's Glaceon, was very tricky to deal with, because that team is very well built. Pokemon Mo is a very, very tough game. The final Gym Leader, and the, each section gets harder as you progress. And the Glaceon did some serious damage. Because it was, max speed, timid nature with Blizzard, and the point of that entire team is it sets up the snow. And Glaceon's got very good defensive stats. So yeah. Very, very powerful Pokemon in the right hands, if you can get it to work. But I just love it. It's cute, if nothing else. Like, even if I don't get to use it too much as an actual thing, I love Glaceon. I have a soft spot for it. Yeah, for my personal favourite evolution. Not in usability, but in fun. Mamoswine! You know where Mamoswine's getting a good rank as well. Above Spheal, I'd say. Is it above Lapras? Actually, yeah, it's above Lapras. Not above Weavile, probably, though. But I do love Mamoswine. Mamoswine's an awesome Pokemon. Kinda hoping we get a Mega Mamoswine. Not gonna lie. I think Mamoswine would be a cool Mega Pokemon. Genuinely. That's one of the Pokemon I'm hoping for. I'm not not banking on it, but I think it'd be cool, right? The reason I'm not banking on it is we got Mamoswine as an existence, right? So it's a Pokemon that already got something. Because it got the new Evo. Because originally it was just Piloswine and Swinub. Which is good, like, Piloswine's a pretty good Pokemon on its own. But Mamoswine is a great Pokemon, and I very much like it. Sorry, I keep glancing to the side. Okay, now. Hey, congrats on the Buzzwole. Buzzwole's great, I love him. Chad the Bug. Okay, now we are talking. You remember I said I'd get back to the Snorunt topic when we got a bit later? This is the reason why I will take a while farming Snowrunts to try and get the correct one. Because if I use Snorunt 10 times out of 10, I will farm to get a female Snorunt. Because female Snorunt can evolve into Misery, my adorable little Frostlass. I love Frostlass. Frostlass is a very good contender with Glaceon for my favorite ice type. It is probably my favorite ghost type. Right? Frostlass is probably my favorite ghost type in existence. I love this thing. It's so fun to use. I don't run it as most people do. I run this thing as a very powerful special attacker. Right? It's very fast. It hits pretty hard. It's got nothing to look crazy. Most people run it as like a lead Pokemon. We're gonna get spikes and stuff. And Destiny Bond. I don't. I just run this thing straight up as a powerhouse special attacker. Because it's absurdly fast. I think it's at 130 speed, something like that. It's insanely fast. Okay, it's 110 speed, so it's a bit slower than I thought. But it is very, very fast. Has some pretty good... it's got a great moveset. I tend to run, like, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and a Techie move, usually. This thing, I actually want to run Frostlass at some point on a team and run it with Specs. Choice Specs Frostlass seems fun for the build I usually go for it. You can run it nearly any way as well. It's a good all-rounder Pokemon that I don't think anyone would be really unhappy to have one on the team. Or at least me personally. But yeah, Frostlass, you are getting the second place spot at just above Alolan Ninetales, which shows you how much I like this Pokemon. Again, usability, I'd probably use an Alolan... I would use Alolan Ninetales over a Frostlass, right? But Frostlass is very, very good. And I used my hidden ability Frostlass in Pokemon because I wanted to use one, so I actually actively went out of my way to find a female Snorunt to have on my team early to use. And turn it into a Frostlass. And it ended up being a hidden ability one, which was always fun. I'm expecting Frostlass to get a Mega because Glalie has a Mega. Genuinely. I'm expecting Legends ZA to give us Mega Frostlass. Because then it evens out with Mega Glalie, like how Gardevoir and Gallade both have Megas, right? That's my opinion on it. And yeah, in Legends Z8, if they make a Mega Frostlass, it's going to be hard-pressed not to have that be my Mega on my team when I get Legends Z8. Genuinely. It is... There had better be some really fucking cool Megas to compete with this, because I love this Pokemon. And yeah, it's great. Rotom Fridge, the second worst Rotom, I believe. I believe Rotom Fridge is the second worst Rotom form. I kind of like it, though. It's dumb. Rotom Fridge, I'd say here. Yeah, Mega Alakazam. Alakazam is cool. Don't get me wrong. Outside of Pokerogue, it's a lot worse, though. It's not bad, to say the least, but it doesn't have much coverage. Unfortunately. Though I think it gets Magic Bounce, and Magic Bounce is sick. So yeah, Rotom Fridge. There's not really a lot I can say about it. It's a Rotom. Rotoms are all pretty neat. And it's a fridge, which I like fridges because fridges keep food in. Oh yeah, 170 special attack's obscene. Unfortunately, it'll just get hard walled by a dark type because it's gonna have to try and land focus miss, which is in itself a challenge. I believe it's the main reason it gets Moonblast in Pokerogue is because it has no coverage for dark types. I mean, literally, it's the reason why dark types exist is Alakazam. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Galarian Darumaka. I think this thing is extremely okay. I'm not a huge fan. Yeah, I'm debating putting it down a D tier, to be honest. You know what? Yeah, D tier. I'm not a huge fan of the Darmanitan line in general. I'll give actual Darmanitan the C tier. I don't hate it. I think it's one of the cooler Darmanitan forms for it. I love Guerrilla Tactics. I think Guerrilla Tactics is a really neat ability. That's the thing that's giving it a plus. It's little snowman vibes. I'm okay with it. Zen mode, I'm not a fan of Zen mode. Will give it credit for being a fire ice type. The only one in existence, I believe. Which is kind of neat. I will give it that. It's kind of neat. But it's a really dumb design, let's be honest. So, yeah. I am not a huge fan. But I will give Galarian Darmanitan's base mode a respectable C tier of average. A low one is below Delibird. Like, look at it that way. But it's fine. Guerrilla Tactics is a big thing that's giving it upper tier. Because Guerrilla Tactics is a very cool ability. Just giving a Mon a built-in choice band is kind of cool. Right? Okay. Vanillish, Vanillux, and Vanillice. I can't remember any of their names other than one is Vanillish. One is Vanillux. I don't remember what the other one is. But I know one of them is that and one of them is that. The little ice creams. I will put all the ice creams in C. They're okay to use. They are snow setters again. But they are literally just an ice cream, right? I can't give them anything higher, but they're kind of... I don't think they're as bad a design as people seem to think, okay? They are an ice cream. They look delicious. I will fully say that. Like, I'd eat these Pokemon. But I'm not going to give it a great tier because it's an ice cream. But I'm not going to give it a bad tier just because it's an ice cream. It's fine. It's a perfectly average, fine Pokemon. I absolutely understand where people go, they're running out of ideas with these Pokemon. I will say that. But I don't really think they're that bad. I think there's a lot worse. There's far worse Pokemon in existence than just ice cream sentient. Kind of think they should be a ghost type, but we'll leave it at that. Okay, I'm going to be honest. The tiny little bear. Cupchew. Cupchew loses a lot of points for me for the nose snot. I think it's kind of gross. I get what it's going for. It's very cute. But the nose snot kind of loses it a lot of points for me. It would be higher otherwise. Beartic, however, Beartic is getting a B tier. And it is probably a pretty solid B tier. I think it's kind of cool. I've tried it a fair bit. I've tried to make it work. It's not a great Pokemon. It's got a lot of attack. It's very slow. But you can definitely make this work because I believe it's got Slush Rush and Swift Swim. So you want to use it on weather teams. Right. You want to use this thing on weather teams. It's not quite got the defense to be that good, though. Because it's got the similar attack stat to, like, Mamoswine, which is good. It doesn't really have the bulk of Mamoswine. It's a little slow. It wants to kind of be a Slush Rush, Swift Swim, like, sweeper Pokemon. It's not great at it. There's a lot better. There is a lot better. But the vibe is there. I also hate Rain Teams, so I'm never going to use it as a Swift Swim Pokemon. I'm pretty sure it's better as a Swift Swim Pokemon than a Slush Rush Pokemon. Because, again, there's better Slush Rush Mons. There's significantly better Slush Rush ones. That are also Ice-type. But there's not that many Swift Swim Pokemon that are Ice type. So I could see using it on a Rain team. But I'm not a pathetic loser that uses Rain teams. If you use Rain teams, I apologize. But you know what you did. I look forward to walling your entire team with a Gastrodon. Yeah. So, what can I say? Beartic's kind of cool. It's a polar bear. Polar bears are cool. If they make a Mega Beartic, I'd be very happy. Genuinely. Beartic is a Pokemon I think would do good with a Mega. I don't really think it needs an Evo. I think it's got decent stats. Though, to be honest, it's 110 attack, which is okay. Actually, it could, to be honest. I would be okay with... It actually has lower stats than I thought. I would be okay with an evolution of Beartic. Give us, like, an Ursaluna kind of version, but polar bear. Right? With Beartic. Like they did for Ursaring. Give us a giant polar bear. Giant ice-type polar bear that has some weird evolution path. And I'd be kind of down, right? And that would be significantly cooler. So yeah, I'd be okay with that. Would it be ice ground type? Probably not, right? Because we've got Ursaluna as normal ground. So they don't want to direct copy it. Ice and... ice water, maybe? Like, there's a lot of ice water types. We haven't had one for a while. And it does get Swift Swim. So, yeah, give us a polar bear evolution that has Swift Swim. Swift Swim and Slush Rush. Give it the same ones. Just make it bigger and better, right? And I think that could be a very fun Pokemon if they do that. It's got 485 stat line, so it's definitely got the space for it. And you can give it, like, make it a lot faster. Like, it's got 50 speed. So it's kind of slow. It goes up to 100 speed, which is average nowadays for a Pokemon speed stat. Genuinely, like, if you look up 100 speed, which is what it would be, is roughly equivalent of, like, it's the same speed as, like, Charizard, Salamence. Most of the Pokemon you classically think of as quite fast, but not super fast, is 100 speed. If you can go over that speed, then it's good. It's just not enough. It doesn't get enough. Even with Timid, or not Timid, Jolly. Even with Jolly Nature, it's not quite going to be fast enough. It's always going to be speed tie, assuming it's in the rain, snow, whichever one it wants to be in, right? Which isn't great. Cryogonal, okay design, great special defense. I don't like it, really. It's kind of meh. I'm giving you a here. Yeah, let's put you up with these, actually. It's still blue. It's bluer than the freaking bear next to it, which has a blue head. Right? It's extremely blue. I will die on that hill, and it is blue. I believe it is even considered a blue Pokemon. So, yeah. It's blue! Yep. If you want even further one, by the way, this is the official Bulbapedia, right? This is the official Dex entry for Cryogonal. Podex color. Blue! Blue! It's blue. But yeah, look at this thing's special defense, by the way. It's kind of insane. It also got a massive stat increase. What did it get boosted, actually? Its physical defense got buffed. A lot. It's surprisingly tanky. It will die instantly from a physical hit. Because it's got 80 health and 50 defense now is not good. But it's got a massive special defense stat. So, it can take some special hits. I think it's got the highest special defense stat in its generation as well, which is quite an accomplishment. And it's quite fast, and it has okay special attack. So, you can definitely make it work. You can definitely make it work. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I've seen what it can do to a team. If you've only got special attackers. So, And because of the snow buff that you can get nowadays, it increases its physical defense by 50%. It actually can have okay physical bulk as well. Nothing crazy. If you build it physically bulky, it can actually do some work, though. Okay, now we get to Curum and the other two Curums. I'm a big fan of Curum. I will outright say it. Normal Curum, I will give to... probably about here. I do like Curum a lot. Curum Black is my favorite Curum design. I'd say you get here. And Curum White is best usability of the Curum. So I'll put you here. I like Curum Black's design more, but I like using Curum White more. So I'll put them comfortably next to each other. They are basically equivalent. I love the big bulky arms of it, but the special attacking ice type with freeze dry is kind of better. Curum Black is good now, though. I will say that. Curum Black is actually a good Pokemon now. They gave it some more abilities to actually be good. So yeah. See what I mean about S tier being kind of crowded for me and why I had to put Piloswine and Swinub down a bit? Particularly since we're getting another S tier. Yeah, I've also got Curum Black. I haven't had Curum White on my Rogue runs yet. But Curum White is very good. As well. Okay, now we have my second favorite fossil Pokemon of all time. Aurorus, Amora, and Aurorus. Amora, I love you. You are here, Littlefoot. Actually, you could probably be a bit higher. Here. Yeah, I'll give Amora that and Aurorus. Honestly, I like Aurorus a lot. It's not a good Pokemon. I will tell you this right now. Aurorus is a bad Pokemon. It's got a bad type combo. It's got monstrous stats. If this thing was in Gen 9 with Terra, this thing would be insane. I will absolutely say that. But without Terra, it's not very good. Ice and Rock, it just isn't a good combo. I am really, really hoping that Legend Z8 gives us a Mega Tyrantrum and a Mega Aurorus. Genuinely. I would be so happy. Unfortunately, Aurorus, Rock Ice just isn't a good combo for a slow Pokemon. Very good offense. Aurorus is pretty slow. It wants to be defensive. It doesn't really work. I will say, if there's no Ice type, if there's no Fighting type in your opponent's team, though, this thing can do some damage. This thing has monstrous stats. And I believe its only quad weakness is Fighting. So if you can get around the Fighting somehow, this thing can do some work. It's also a Snow Setter, which is also good. Or it's a Hail Setter, which will be a Snow Setter when it gets reintroduced to the game. Because they removed Hail and put in Snow instead. Which will make this thing a lot better, in my opinion. But it's hard to argue with a quad weakness to one of the most common types to using Pokemon, right? But I love it. I love Sauropods. The unfortunate thing for this is, I will never pick this Pokemon in a game because it's up against my favorite fossil and one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, Tyrantrum. They are the opposites of each other, right? They are the equivalents. Tyrantrum is significantly better than Aurorus as well. But Aurorus is fun to use. And I would very much want to try using it on a team. It's just not very good. It doesn't quite have the bulk to make up for it either. For being as slow as it is. Also, it's a Refrigerate Pokemon, which is kind of neat. It's a bit of a special attacker, so I guess you want to give it... I don't know, I'm pretty sure it can't learn Boom Burst, but Refrigerate Boom Burst would do some work. But I know you want to make this thing a Snow Setter or make it a kind of support Pokemon. So... This is also a Pokemon that I would love it if they added... There's an ability which there's an item I really want them to add to the game. Just called, like, Full Plate Mail or Full Heavy Armor or something like that. Like, Heavy Armor. Basically, like the Assault Vest, where it increases your physical defense instead of special defense by an amount, but gives you a debuff. Like, the Assault Vest, you can't use setup moves. You can't use any support moves. This ain't LARP. No, but the Assault Vest exists. And I think Heavy Armor's one would be something like either can't use priority moves, or you always go last in your bracket, or something like that. Like, make it a very defensive thing. I kind of give it Lagging Tail. They make it Lagging Tail with a buff, right? Or something like that. Like, I don't know. Or can't use priority moves seems like a bit of a cop-out because so many Pokemon don't use priority moves anyway, so it's just an obvious choice. But something like that, right? I want there to be some sort of physical defense version of the Assault Vest. I just think it would be good in the game. And again, calling something like heavy armor or full plate armor or something like that, I think would be the right way to do it. Because I don't think you should give it can't use attacking moves, because that is really, really weird. So, like, you can't make it the actual opposite of the Assault Vest, but yeah, I want to make an item like that, and I think this thing could be quite good with that. Because sets up the snow to increase its defense by 50%. Has an item on which increases defense by 50% again. You can build it physically bulky. The thing's not going to die from a physical hit, even from a quad-effective fighting move. Also, again, I believe this thing gets Aurora Veil, but it's too slow to really make use of it. Unlike the others, really, right? It's a decent Pokemon. Its type is what's holding it back. Genuinely. But okay, for the next ones, Bergmite, Avalugg, and Hisuian Avalugg. Bergmite, I think you're fine. You are a Pokemon. Low B tier. Avalugg, I have a fondness for the coffee table. I'll put you about here, I say. I like the Pokemon. I like its design. I have a shiny. Was another, like, quick shiny, one of my first ones that I had. I quite like the gold highlights, genuinely. It's subtle, but nice. So yeah, I am a fan of Avalugg. Hisuian Avalugg, I like its design even more than Avalugg, but its type, again, it's got the same type as Aurorus. It's just bad. Again, it's really slow. I have made it work. I will say I have made it work. But it's a really bad Pokemon. I will fully say that. Even with its monstrous, I think it's got 185 or something like that physical defense. You see, I think it's around Cloisters. But quad weakness to fighting is a problem, and it's got so many weaknesses. It's kind of unfortunate. Also, its specific move isn't very good, which is unfortunate. It's Mountain Gale. Mountain Gale's not a great move. It's very inaccurate. It's a powerful move if you can hit with it. If it was on a different type of Pokemon, it would be quite a good move, because it's got flinch chance. It's inaccurate. If there was a fast ice type with no guard that had Mountain Gale, it'd be insane. But they're never going to make that, because it would be broken. For its Mountain Gale, you can get Mountain Gale on Machamp in Pokerogue. And it's okay on Machamp, but Machamp is also quite slow. If it was on a fast Pokemon, you need to be on a fast Pokemon. Honestly, I just want to be a fast no-guard Pokemon. Give it to Pidgeot. How about that? Give it to Pidgeot, Mega Pidgeot, no guard, boom, done. Crabominable, I don't mind Crabominable. Crabominable, you're getting here. You're really bad. I think that people hate your design more than they should. I do think you're a bit of a disappointment coming from Crabrawler. I think Crabrawler has a better design. But I don't hate Crabominable. I see what they were going for. I think they kind of missed. It also is way too late in the game, because you actually get the Ice Stone, like, at the end of Sun and Moon, from my understanding. So it's too late to be really useful for what it is. So, yeah. Okay, Mr. Rime. I will say, Mr. Rime, a lot better than Mr. Mime. I kind of like the Monopoly guy, I'm going to be honest. I don't love it, but they changed Mr. Mime. They, like, brushed him up a bit, made him a decent person. Exactly, right? It's not bad. I won't give it a great mark, but you're getting B tier, which is more than any of your species will ever get from me. Besides you. Mr. Rime is fine as a Pokemon. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I don't actively hate it beyond imagining like Mr. Mime. So, also, the existence of Mr. Rime means that more Mr. Mimes are not in existence. Right? That's always a plus. It gets rid of Mr. Mimes out of the pool. To be a proper gentleman. And I kind of like it. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Snom! The god himself. I actually love Snom. Genuinely. I'm not going to meme it and put it into S tier. I've already done that with Sviel. But I do like Snom. And I like Frostlass. Genuinely. I'll put them in A tier. A bit above Piloswine. I actually like using Frostlass. It's kind of shitty Volcarona would be the description I can give Frostlass. It's a beautiful design. Same with Snom. Snom is based. But it's a beautiful design. Frostlass is powerful. It is literally the worst type combo in the game, and it's kind of usable. Not gonna lie, I have swept people with Frostlass. Do not underestimate this thing. Just because it has Bug Ice, which is a garbage typing, right? It's absolutely abysmal beyond imagining. But it's got Ice Scales. Ice Scales is a very, very powerful move. A powerful ability. It gets Quiver Dance. It's got a good moveset. It's powerful. You really need to know what you're doing with it. It's a very, very high skill cap Pokemon. Mr. Lime! Yeah, I'd love a Mr. Lime. Mr. Lime would be pretty fun. But yeah, I would call Frostlass. No, not Frostlass. I would go Frostlass, quite high skill cap Pokemon. But no, Frosmoth, I would say, is a higher skill cap Pokemon to make it. I don't think it's crazy good for the skill cap it needs to make it work, but you can absolutely make it work. Genuinely. It's very, very strong in the right kind of situation. If this thing can get set up, it is a Quiver Dance Pokemon. Any Pokemon with Quiver Dance can do work. And Frostmoth is a particularly powerful one because Ice is very good on the offense. So, yeah. I love Frostmoth, and I've made it work. But again, I absolutely get if people don't like Frostmoth, because it is very high skill cap to a pretty good payoff. I will say that. But you can do the same thing with other Pokemon which are better. Like, Volcarona is better than Frostmoth. It just is. But Frostmoth's not awful. It ends up being worse Volcarona, but Volcarona's one of the strongest Pokemon ever. So, yeah. Ironmoth is great. Speaking of, Ironmoth is an awesome Pokemon. Ironmoth is also better than Frostmoth. But Frostmoth's good. Ice Q, I don't like Ice Q. I never have, I never will. Dire Coffee mode, don't like it. It's dumb, its ability's neat, but I would be more interested in its ability if it wasn't just disguise again. Yeah, I don't like Ice Q at all. It's irritating to deal with. It's not good, particularly. There is a way around it, just hit it with a special move and it just dies. Like, its ability doesn't work. It literally is just... It's got the same gimmick as Mimikyu. Mimikyu's a very good Pokemon that I very much like. But Ice Q is just shitty Mimikyu. Right? It's not good. I don't like it. I've never liked it. It's bad. If you like Ice Q, find better Pokemon that you like. Genuinely. That's all I can say about it. It's not an E tier, but it's a D tier. I don't like it. You know what? Actually, Darumaka Zen mode. Go above it. I don't like this Pokemon at all. It's bad. I don't like it. Okay, I can never remember the... Octazult, I believe, is this one. Octazult's kind of funny. It's got a design. I'll put you above Mega Glalie. Right. It's kind of cool. I think it's the only electric ice type in existence, which is a note. It's a funny design. I love all the Galar weird fossil Pokemon. They're neat. I will say these two are two of my least favorites of the Galar fossils. But they're not bad. They're alright. I think these are my least favorite of the sets. But they're not bad. They've got a vibe. It's just the dragon ones are just better. And a better designs. But these things are perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. See, I'll put you to... I like Octavish a bit better, I think. But they're alright. They are a solid alright. We're actually getting really close to the end here. Ice types are one of the least known types, right? They're one of the Pokemon types with the least number. I think they actually might be the least number. I think there are less ice types than there are fairy types. The fairy types got added a lot later. Ugh. We need more ice Pokemon in existence. Now we get to a lot of very good Pokemon. Ice types started getting extremely good towards the late ones. They started realizing how to make good defensive ice types. Gen 9 was really what made ice types good. But there's some power as well in some others. Like Galastria, my Charger, my Destria horse. I love it. You are probably going the top of A tier. I love Galastria. They made a few normal types fairy. They made a couple of psychic types fairy as well. Yeah, Snubbull and Gramble got made fairies. Gardevoir is a fairy. Wigglytuff is a fairy. So the Jigglypuff line is. Clefable's line got made fairies. They had a bunch of old fairies. Yeah. Which is definitely made up the numbers. But they have an easier time adding fairies because fairies aren't like biome specific. I think is the big one. Like you can make nearly anything into a fairy type and it's fine. With ice types, you kind of have to put them in an ice biome, right? Or the water and things like that. Because they have a connotation. Same as like you usually put ground and rock types in caves and deserts. Or deserts and caves, I guess, respectively. It's just, these are the biomes that you usually find these in. It's just they can make others. It's a lot harder with ice types. So I'll give them the credit for that. Yeah, or Zubat in the cave. Calyrex Ice Rider, I will say this is getting higher rank than Galastria. Because I have never used it. This is my favourite of the Calyrex forms. I don't really like Calyrex Spectria, partially because it's absolutely busted beyond imagining. Calyrex Ice Rider's got a gimmick, and it sticks to the gimmick, right? It's an absolute brick wall. It's the Charger, right? It's slow, insanely tough, and hits like a freight train. Also, Glacial Lance is a really cool move. I love Glacial Lance. Glacial Lance is awesome. I hate using Trick Room teams. Full credit. So, probably never going to use this properly. But I do like it. Calyrex Galastria is a very, very cool Pokemon. I wouldn't really give it an S tier for me. I do want to use it, though. I do very much want to use this thing. The main reason that Calyrex Ice Rider doesn't get S tier for me is because I've never used it. Genuinely. I could imagine this thing going up to like a mid-low S tier. Like maybe just behind Cura, maybe above Mamoswine, or maybe just behind Mamoswine. If I ever use it. But I haven't. I don't have Calyrex in Pokerogue. And I am not a Trick Room user. But I love Galastria. I love using Galastria. So Calyrex Ice Rider is just better Galastria. So it does have that going for it. And again, Glacial Lance. Cool move. Okay. Sotodle's goofy. I'll put you around here. Sotodle is okay. I love it's the Terra Whale Pokemon. Or maybe its evolution is. But I know it's the Terra Whale because it's the land whale. But I will say, Titan, weirdly, is the worst of the Gen 9 ice types. And I will say it's worst of the Gen 9 ice types. It's still banned in a few tiers. Like, it's not a weak Pokemon. This thing is a monster. Titan is great. I really like Titan. I have used Titan to disgusting effect. I know why it's banned. Because this thing is a Slush Rush Sweeper with Belly Drum. With one of the highest health stats in Pokemon. Titan's a beast. I love its design. I love how it works. It's an absolute chunky tank of a thing. And it's, in the snow, it's very, very powerful. It's very fast. It hits so obscenely hard. It will tank the hit. Because it's obscene health bar. Even with, and it can belly drum, which means it can get max attack. It can get ice shard, so it's priority with that, and it's got a good attack stat. So Titan's a crazy good Pokemon. And it's the worst of these following Pokemon. Now we've got God Delibird. We have Robo God Delibird. I will say, I'm not a bundle guy myself. I will 100% respect its raw power, though. This thing is obscene. There's a reason it's Ubers. This Pokemon is an Ubers Pokemon. In fact, all three of these, actually, because these are the pre-evers for the big boy. All of these are Ubers Pokemon. Also, I believe you're after Baxcalibur. All of these Pokemon are Ubers. Bundle, where are you going, Bundle? I'd say Bundle belongs here. I love that they made a meme terrible Pokemon into one of the strongest Pokemon ever. Into an obscenely powerful, like, it's one of the strongest non-legendary Pokemon ever made. Genuinely. It's so fast. This was the biggest worry I had in the draft league after Urshifu. In the draft league, originally, someone drafted Iron Bundle. I had no idea what Iron Bundle was. Because before I played Scarvi, and even then, I had more interest in Scarlet than Violet. So I had no idea on Iron Bundle or what the fuck it was. I looked it up and I went, this thing's insane. Like, this thing is crazy powerful. So you gotta put respect on Delibird, on the God Delibird. Iron Bundle is insanely powerful. It's not for me. It's not one that I would use. But it's really, really strong. And if you love it, I get it. It deserves the love. And again, Delibird, they made a good Delibird, which is fun. It's a bit of a meme. I like it. This is a thing that they should do more often. Make a bit of a meme Pokemon. Great. Right? Like, if they do it in the future, if they do it with, like, Slacking, I wouldn't be too surprised. Like, Mega Slacking, it's the exact same stat line. It just doesn't have Truant. That kind of thing. It's just something like that. And I think it would be kind of cool. Okay. I don't remember your name. Frigibax, that was it. Frigibax is very fun. I do like Frigibax. It's very cute. It's very good. Well, it itself isn't very good. I will put Frigibax. It's not got the best design, though, I will 100% say. For what it's going to be, we'll work up to it. But I will still put him about here. He is still an Ice Dragon. He's good. He is the baby pseudo-legendary, so I always have a soft spot for the baby pseudo-legendaries. They're so cute. Mew itself doesn't have a Mega because Mewtwo is a created Pokemon, which means it's got an unstable genome, I believe is the law, which is why it has 2, specifically as well. Normal Mew probably might get a Mega. I could see Normal Mew getting a Mega, but Normal Mew's gimmick doesn't really need one, right? Mew's gimmick is it can learn every move from TM. It learns all of them. So it doesn't really need much. It's decent. It's a decent Pokemon. It doesn't really need much because you can build it so many different ways. Mewtwo is very much, this is what Mewtwo does. Mewtwo beat sticks. So yeah. Exactly, right? Well, Arceus can do anything, but Arceus' gimmick changes depending on the game. Like at the moment, it's Sword Stance E-Speed. Sword Stance Terra Normal E-Speed. Brutal. But yeah, it's that kind of thing. The mythic Pokemon are always in a class of their own, and Mew is a mythic. So, Octobax. I love Octobax. I actually really like Octobax's design. Octobax, you are going in a low S tier. In fact, you'll go above the meme. You'll go over Sphere. Octobax is great. I very much love it. Now, people know I have a soft spot for my pseudo-legendaries, and people know I have a soft spot for my dragons. Hey, congrats! Congratulations. I have had so many Gibbles, and none of them have had egg moves. I've been so pissed. I've actually hatched a few of them, and they've all had the same egg moves. Not getting 1,000 waves anytime soon. But yeah, people know I love my pseudo-legendaries and my pseudo-dragons. And I think that Gigan, as I name them, because it is based off of Gigan from the old Godzilla movies. People think it's based, that Baxcalibur is based off of Godzilla. It's not. Baxcalibur is based off of Gigan from the Godzilla movies. Tyranitar is based off of Godzilla himself. And if you look up Gigan from Godzilla movies, you'll see exactly what I mean. I'm a big kaiju enjoyer, so yeah. I'm a big, big fan of Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur is an awesome Pokemon. I've loved using it. I had a bit of trouble figuring out how I wanted to use it in the main story, and then I got some ideas, and I was like, okay, this is how it works. For me, the two ways to make it work are raw power in the snow. The raw power set that I call it would be Icicle Crash, Glaive Rush, Ice Shard Protect, with probably max health, max attack, Adamant Nature. Like, you don't have to be particularly fast, you just hit really hard. You tank with it, you hit hard. You tank with it, you hit hard. Because basically you want it to actually be kind of slow with that one, so that you can Glaive Rush in with that massive attack stat with the massive power of Glaive Rush. You hit in, and then you protect the next turn, because you're hopefully going last with Baxcalibur, right? That's one strategy I've seen with it. You don't want to go first because you hit into it with Glaive Rush, then the opponent's Pokemon immediately attacks and kills it when Glaive Rush has the double damage debuff on it. So yeah, you have to be very careful with it. But, and the other set is the max attack, max speed version, where you run loaded dice, sword stance, scale shot, icicle javelin? Icicle spear, that was it. Icicle spear, ice shard again, and yeah, that's what you run. Because you roll loaded dice to get the stat ups and things, and it's the sweeper version. Those are the two ways, in my opinion, that you can run Baxcalibur, and it does very well. There's a bunch of other options as well, but those are the two really big ones for me. They're both very good. I'd say the sweeper version is probably a little bit better, but the tanky version is very good. The tanky version is particularly good in the snow, where you're more likely to be able to take a hit. You can also run it vested as well, which I don't think is particularly bad, but you miss out on Protect. You have to run a different move to Glaive Rush because you don't have Protect, so it's a bit... You can definitely make it work with other builds, but I'd suggest one of those two personally. Yeah, those are the two builds that I have had success with Baxcalibur with, at least. But yeah, Bax, you are a great Pokemon. You're getting probably here. It's very interchangeable with Alolan Ninetales for me. That shows how much I like Alolan Ninetales, more than how much I like Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur is great. It's just behind the others, but it's an absolute all-star of a Pokemon, and I really, really do love it. It's very powerful, it's very good. Now then, the final Pokemon on the list, and a Pokemon that everyone knows I love. My favourite of the Treasures of Ruin, and, in my personal opinion, the best Ice Legendary. Chien Pao. I love this thing. I will put Chien Pao here. It is easy top 5 Ice types. I absolutely adore using this thing. It's so fun to use. It's got a beautiful, honestly, not even moveset, animations. In Scarlet and Violet, this thing is beautiful. Dude, it's so fluid, it's moving. Yeah, I've had several. It's such a good Pokemon. It is the ultimate form of Weavile. Genuinely, it's Weavile's Mega. It might as well be Weavile's Mega. This thing is uber tier. It's so powerful. Its ability, Sword of Ruin, it lowers the defense stat of every Pokemon around it except itself. This thing has an absurd speed, an absurd attack stat, and that debuff. It can get crazy good priority moves. It gets Ice Shard, it gets Icicle Crash, it gets Sucker Punch, you get Crunch, you get everything. You get everything you want on this thing. It does what you want it to do. It doesn't matter that it's got Dark Ice as the type, because it's so fast, it's pretty much never getting hit by anything. Including the fact that if you go things like Ice Shard or Sucker Punch, this thing will outspeed the Mach Punching Pokemon that can actually priority it, which are the problem. Like anything with Mach Punch, in theory, can do some work with it because it auto outspeeds with priority. Quite effective. You're probably killing it. It's not super tanky. But, and it's quad weak to it, right? But this thing is so fast that if you also click the priority move, I don't think there's a single fighting type in the game that can outspeed it. Genuinely. I don't know what the fastest fighting type Pokemon is, but I'm pretty sure it's not that fast. Or if it is, it probably doesn't get Mach Punch. What is the fastest fighting type Pokemon? Hwalucha. The fastest fighting type Pokemon is Hwalucha, which I don't think gets Mach Punch, for reference. Also, is fighting flying, so it's neutral. Actually, I think it might be super effective. I don't think fighting resists ice. So yeah, it's super effective, which means it's just dead to Ice Shard. It's a thing. Like, it's not. It's great. Like, it's so good. I love using this thing. It's such a scary Pokemon. It's very, very good. I love Chien-Pao. Genuinely, I love all the Pokemon. I love most of the Pokemon on this list that aren't in the bad tiers. I really like Ice types. Ice type is one of my favorite types. I don't really... Hey! God, Snob. I wouldn't really call Ice type my sixth favorite type. I will say that. But I love a lot of Ice Pokemon. I will quite often try to get one in the team. Alright. But I will 100% say Ice types, if you use them correctly, are way stronger than people give them credit to. Ice is considered one of the worst types in Pokemon. Or it used to be before Gen 9. Before Gen 9 gave it a massive boost. It's not bad. It's just quite a hard type to use correctly. That is what I genuinely think. Ice types are a very, very good pickup. Mostly because Ice types deal with the strongest type in the game. My type, Dragon. As a Dragon type trainer, as this is called, the Dragon type, very biased tier lists. Dragon type trainer deals with Ice tier lists. I'm a Dragon type trainer. I have immense respect for the Ice type. As I should. I am a Dragon tamer. Ice types are one of the two scariest types to go up against. Right? Because Dragon has 3 weaknesses. It has Fairy types, which are built to counter Dragon. Ice types, the original counterpick to Dragon. And Dragon types, which are countered by themselves. With the 3 types, I have it this way. I will regularly run Steel types on my team anyway, which are the counters to Ice and Fairy. Right? But there is a Fairy Ice type. Alolan Ninetales, right here. It's why it's one of my favorites. It's the counter pick to Garchomp. Genuinely, if you are having trouble with Garchomp, pick Alolan Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales is designed to be a counter to Garchomp. It's slightly faster than Garchomp, and is both the types that Garchomp doesn't like, particularly Ice. Garchomp is quad weak to Ice. And it's got enough power that it'll probably one-shot the Garchomp, genuinely. I have immense respect for this thing. This quite often, to be honest, Alolan Ninetales was very commonly used as a lead Pokemon in UU when I started playing. Specifically because Garchomp was another common lead. Alolan Ninetales gained popularity because it was a good matchup for against Garchomp. Garchomp is terrifying. Dragon types are terrifying to deal with. So, having an Ice type is not a bad idea. I've never really had trouble with Dragon types because I also use Dragon types. And I basically go to anybody who challenges me with dragons, you dare challenge me to a duel of dragons. And my dragons quite often come out on top. I know how to run Dragon types. I'm very good at running Dragon types. It's the only thing I can say I have in Pokemon. I can run my dragons. I have had some success running Ice types as well. because ice types are quite complicated to run. You have to be aware of what they're good at and what they're bad at. Ice is one of the most important ones for that. You can't run ice straight up. You will die. The ice is terrible defense. Even the bulky ice types, they're not good on the defense. With a couple of exceptions, like Glastria. Even then, they're not amazing on it. You've got to be very, very careful with ice types. And you've got to run them in the right way. Now, I will 100% say, ice types are very strong. Weirdly, do you know what I tend to run ice types to counter? I don't run ice types to counter dragons. I have my own dragons for that. And my own dragons will outmuscle the opponent's dragons. Nearly always. I run ice types to counter a type which I have never been good at countering. Water types. Because water types have two normal weaknesses. Grass types, which I don't really run, and electric types. Probably my least favourite type. So how do I deal with water types? Particularly the bulky water types, which are a problem, and quite often run ice move. Yeah, I can outmuscle ice types with my dragons as well. I've done it before. Again, you have to be careful in that matchup, but I will say as well, water types have a secret weakness. Freeze dry. A lot of the Pokemon that I like that are ice types, not all of them, but I believe of my top 5, 3 of them get freeze dry. The 2 that don't are the physical attackers who don't need freeze dry because freeze dry isn't their purpose. I believe Glaceon, Frostlass, and Alolan Ninetales all get freeze dry. I'm pretty sure. Freeze dry is so good. So I regularly run ice types to counter water types on my team. Because people don't expect it. Particularly to deal with water ground types, which is a very good type combo. Only has one weakness. Grass. Unless you've got freeze dry, in which case you've also got the quad weakness for it. Freeze dry is a very good move, and is one of my favourite moves in Pokemon. It's not Earthquake. Earthquake is my favourite. But it's very, very, very good. If I'm running an ice type, if it's not a physical attacker like Bax or Chien-Pao, I'm running freeze dry, if it can get it. If it's not getting it, I'm probably not running the ice type. Genuinely. It's just what it comes down to. If I'm running an ice type to be an ice type, I'm probably running freeze dry. So yeah, that is a genuine bit of thought for me. I have a very, very big fondness for ice types because they are good. If you know how to use ice types, they are very powerful. I highly recommend people give them a try. Genuinely. They are underestimated. They're an undervalued type. It is not bad at all. Sure, there's a lot of really bad ice types looking at you 3 at the bottom, which are abominations to nature. But there's a lot of ice types. I would be happy to use most things on the upper tiers of this list. Genuinely. In fact, most things on the upper tiers of this list, I have used. Every single I haven't used Sveal, I will say, but memes, it's so cute. Every single thing in S tier, I have used. Even if it's just a small amount. I have used Kyurem White a little bit, not very much. Kyurem Black I've used a fair bit, which is how I know I prefer Kyurem White's usability, but I just don't get Kyurem White as often because I've mostly used it in Pokerogue. Freeze Dry, again, Freeze Dry. Aurorus, I have barely used this thing. It's bad, but I like it, you know. But everything else, I've used it to at least some success. Certain Pokemon, I've used to a lot of success. Frostlass, I've used to a lot of success. When people underestimate them. Don't underestimate ice types. Take it from me. Take it from the Dragon Trainer. Ice types can be very powerful in the right situations. If they get the right kind of setup and the right kind of ability and the right kind of this is the time, ice types can obliterate you. They are very, very good offensive Pokemon. You have to be careful with them because they're fragile. But if you know how to use them, I highly recommend using them. Okay, so that's the tier list done, and my final closing thoughts. I like ice types. I will comfortably say, be aware, I don't know what type I'm doing next. I might do the other counter to Dragon. I might do Fairy. What am I feeling? Fairy? What have I got left? Okay, I'm between three types currently. Fairy, which is a very good type and another one of my favorites. Ghost, another very good type and another one of my favorites. And the final one is Bug, which is another one of my favorite types. Also probably the worst type in Pokemon. But I do like Bug Pokemon. Ooh, smell garlic cooking. That smells very nice. But yeah, I'm between one of those three, so it'll probably be one of those three next week. Yeah, it'll be next Monday. Oh, also, I believe this week, if memory serves... Yes, this week is going to be the last Altera stream for the summer. Basically, me and the Altera lot, we take August off because we're all really, really busy in August. Me and Dragon Bob are obviously at LOPS for two of the Fridays. A few of the others are busy for various things on a few of the off weeks as well. So we just take August off. So there will be an Altera stream this week. There might be like intermittent ones, but the Shattered Alts Fair will be picking up after this week. Basically, what next type is going to be Bug, Fairy, or Ghost. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, for Altera, we're going to be catching up in the autumn. You know, we'll be picking up again in September time because we're all really busy for August, so we always take a. But tomorrow, no, I actually have a different thing tomorrow. I promised someone that I would check out a new MMO that came out, which I can't remember the name of. I keep forgetting. I got it. It's a free one that came out on Steam. Throne and Liberty. I will be giving that a try and see if it streams. They wanted to check it out. It's apparently it's some sort of weird weapon-focused MMO game. With shape-shifting elements, like mega shape-shifting. Apparently you can turn into a wolf, a hawk, and a otter as the standard transformations, which is like, okay, I'm kind of interested. There is a great sword in the game. I really hope you can tank as great sword game. Don't just make sword and shield the only tank. That's a common thing they do and make mistakes of in games. So yeah, it's a free game. I'm giving that a try tomorrow. We will have Pokerogue on Wednesday, though. Wednesday will be Pokerogue again. For the hour before Pathfinder. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Have a fantastic evening, every single one of you. Keep playing video games, keep being awesome. You guys are the best audience on Twitch. Enjoy yourselves, guys. Have a wonderful day and a fantastic, fantastic evening. See y'all tomorrow, for I'll be streaming Thrones and Liberty. Which is also free. I have very little idea about the game. I only know that it's a weapon-focused MMO with shapeshifting. That's it. So, we'll find out. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. See you around. Have a fantastic time. Good night. See ya!